Hey everybody, Muffinman here, and today I would like to talk to you about Hellfire. Hellfire is a Burning Crusade server from Looking for Group, and since the new server will be launching tomorrow, I wanted to share some information about the different specs of the server, and hopefully this summary will help you to make a decision if you would like to play here or not. So let's start with the leveling rates. From 1 to 60 we will have ×3 leveling rates on the vanilla content, and from 60 to 70 it will be ×1.5. Something noteworthy here is that the spell cost will be reduced by 1/3, so this should guarantee some smoother leveling even if you have a harder class to play and really are dependent on those spells. In my opinion, a very solid choice to design it that way. If it's instant 60 like the starting area in Hellfire would be way too clumped up, and also it kinda ruins the economy since everybody will just swing up. Also, like in terms of raiding, there are some exploits that you can do with mass producing warlocks at 60 already, so I think it's a fair compromise to go ×3 at the vanilla content. After all, it's a TBC server and we would like to play it for TBC content. This is also the approach of the developers, and they already stated that the vanilla content might be a bit buggy, so having some quests not working is not too bad if the XP rates are increased. And for me personally, like I have been playing private servers for a while now, I'm a bit tired of the old vanilla content, and I'm really glad that I will be able to breeze through it. Next thing on the list is the faction imbalance and the measures that Hellfire TBC will take against that. Because horde ratios are considered to be superior, especially in PvP and when it comes to paladins, there tends to be a ratio of like 30% alliance, 70% horde, and a bit around that area. Hellground had the same kind of issues, and of course if you play alliance this is a huge bummer, especially on PvP servers. So the staff around Hellfire thought about some measures to balance the server population. For one, there will be a faction queue, and what I should add here is that the server will be kept around 2000 players. It's because of some stability issues and such. I'm going to go into more detail about it later, but it's really important for now that you know it's like a 2k threshold, and like if 1000 horde players are already on the server, there will be a queue that's established, and everybody that wants to log on and that is a horde player by that point won't be able to and will get into the queue, whereas like alliance players will be able to just influx still until they reach their 1k limit. Another measure they want to take is that alliance players will receive a level 40 mount for free. On Hellfire that means a 60 gold advantage, which is huge on a 3x leveling rate server. So yes, also side note here, horde will have to pay 60 gold in total for a mount and a pet. This means if you are not warlock or if you are not paladin, you will be able to level a lot quicker as alliance. So alliance will probably control a lot of the areas, especially like when it comes to TBC content, and they will be able to progress a lot faster. Now you might argue, well, that's not really Blizz-like, and I think that's like a complete imbalance and they overdid it. For me personally, I kinda like this, to be honest. Like again, this whole thing about faction imbalance has been a huge problem for a lot of time on different servers, and it feels like everyone is complaining about it, but no one really wants to do anything against it because it's considered to be non-Blizz-like immediately. But you know what? If a TBC server launches, it's never Blizz-like, no matter the raids, no matter the scripting. Because back in retail you already had your characters, you had chosen your faction, and people did hardly reroll just because like a new paladin racial or like the horde PvP racials were vastly superior. So with TBC servers that start from scratch, it's completely fine to have those little tweaks here and there. I mean, I still will roll horde and I will have a disadvantage because of that, but for me, like personally, again, it's fine. Especially since the overall quality of the gameplay and the server itself will improve because of this whole faction balance, I think. But those are very debatable points. I can also completely understand if some people won't like this. So I would be interested to know, what do you think and what are arguments against measures like these, besides it's non-Blizz-like. Moving on to some more details about the server itself. The host will be located in Europe. Regarding raids and endgame content, they try to be pre-nerf, which means dungeons and raids will probably be quite hard. Tier 4 and 5 will be released on launch, Season 1 2 weeks after that, and the achievements and reputations that are required will be Blizz-like as well. Another really important thing I would like to add here is that they are non-profit and there won't be any pay-to-win elements. They don't even have a shop currently and they won't take any donations. Later on this might change a bit with some vanity items, but again, there won't be like any game-breaking items or anything that give you an advantage in-game. I think that's amazing. I always like that when servers have some sort of policy like that. And also huge respect to them, because like from the last few interviews and FAQs, the thing that I've gathered is that they really want to give something back to the community, because they also received some support from developers, like it's based on Hellground's core and everything like that. I don't want to get into too much detail about that here. But yeah, they seem to be very genuine, and like at least I'm convinced that they really mean what they say. I mean, until now they paid for the server with money from their own pockets, so that alone says a lot, I think. So you might say to yourself now, that all sounds a bit too good to be true, like why isn't the server super successful, like what happened? And like the biggest issue they have currently is the server stability. I played on Looking for Group around a year ago, and the scripting seemed to be fine, like there were no major issues of course, like there are little bugs here and there. It's a TBC server after all. But all things considered, it was a fresh server, the development team was really nice, the community was okay, and I still had quite some fun. So again, what's the issue? What's the big deal here? Like, why doesn't this work? And the thing is, Looking for Group has and had huge stability issues. Like after the threshold of like 2k players was reached, there were constant crashes, resets. Some people actually evoked those crashes in order to respawn herbs or mines. And of course, this in the end led to a whole disastrous server economy. Not even speaking of like raids and how frustrating it was to crash dungeons and raid groups. So to fix this issue, they really plan to have a low, quote unquote low, server population this time around, like a server cap. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier, it will be around 2k players this time. There has been some talk that if the requirement is met, there would be even like a second server with another 2k pop limit. And those plans sound great to me. Like I'd rather have a stable 2k population server, maybe even 2, instead of like just one big one who crashes all the time. And to be honest, like a 2000 population server, that's amazing for TBC standards, and that's more than enough. That's a very healthy population. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that I'm very much looking forward to the launch, and I will also be streaming it. I'm going to say right away, if Hellground relaunches, I will probably still go over there, but it never hurts to have more characters on several accounts and several servers, especially like if you're a content creator. And I personally, anyway, I find those server wars ridiculous. I mentioned this in an earlier stream as well, like we are just here for TBC and it doesn't matter if it's Hellground, if it's Hellfire. I mean, there are bugs everywhere, they have the same issues more or less. And I just want to enjoy this game, for fuck's sake. I really hope I didn't forget anything. If you have any questions left, then feel free to ask them down in the comment section below. I will try to answer you. And if you want to enjoy some more TBC content and can't really wait until Hellground comes back, then I would recommend you to hop on tomorrow. By the way, it's not really clear when they are going to launch. I tried to publish this video as late as possible, so I maybe would get a confirmation on the date itself. But maybe they will just leave it very vague, so yeah, there won't be a point where everyone tries to log in and everything crashes. So maybe it will be just like a secret opening and players will join one after another. Another short side note, I've been playing on Vengeance of Azeroth for the past 2 weeks and it's been a great server as well. Since I'm European, like I'm not really too much into it, like don't get me wrong, the ping itself is pretty good actually, but just because of peak times and population itself. But if you are from NA or you don't really have any good experience with Looking for Group or with Hellground, then Vengeance is still a very solid choice. Also the community is great. But yeah, I guess that might be even a topic for another video. Thanks for watching everybody. I hope to see you around, maybe on the stream or like in-game on Hellfire. If you did enjoy the video, then please leave a rating, would be much appreciated as always. And I wish you a great weekend and happy leveling. Bye.